Car bombs, kidnaps, and greed. We're getting into it next.
I'm Maria Menounos, and you're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Welcome, guys. We are covering The Messiah on Netflix here at AfterBuzz TV. We got season 1, episode 9. 9.
We've made it.
We are almost done. We are talking there. God is Greater. That's the name of the episode that we're getting into today. So I'm super excited. We're going to talk about Al-Messih. We're going to talk about so many things. Backstories. We got shady church deals. We got explosions. We also have a book dedication. If you don't read book dedications at the very beginning of the book, they will now become important to you.
Yeah, they're now everything.
Everything. So it's so exciting. We also have our special segment, WWYD, and of course our news and gossip. But before we get into it, Ebony Chapman in the building.
Hello.
Our Messiah extraordinaire.
Yes. All I do is watch that, you guys.
And all things Netflix, right? You binge. Everything's
binge.
I love it. So good. And I, of course, am Tatiana Marisa. What were your overall thoughts about this episode 9?
So many thoughts. I know.
I see you shuffling through your book of notes.
Yeah. I've now made a book of notes. There's so many things. I said there was so much going on.
Yes.
And I said all the characters were confused and manipulated in this episode. Like Samier. Hello, what's going on with that? Mm-hmm. And I was just like, what was going on there? Like, what was going on with Samier? What is... Well, that was my whole thing. I was like, he had me shook. I did not see that coming.
He was going up like inexplicable odds. He seems uncomfortable the entire episode. Like the past couple episodes, he seemed really uncomfortable with what he's doing.
Yeah, like he doesn't know what's going on. That's how I feel.
No, he has no idea. I feel like this episode was like the episode for backstories, where they're kind of like giving you the meat and the reasons behind why everybody's doing things that they're doing, or like why they're in the position that they're in. They just shoved it all in one episode.
Because maybe that's why I felt full, because I had meat and potatoes this time.
Yeah,
I felt really good. I felt really good about it. I was like, yes, okay, we're getting somewhere.
Yeah,
yes,
there's so much. So you guys, I apologize beforehand because we're going to try to cover we have so many things to say about this episode. And so if we don't get to it all, please keep the comments going so we can keep talking about it, because we love to talk about this show. So with that, I just want to go right into our backstories, because I feel like that was what this episode completely started off with.
Yes.
So let's talk about Aviram as a child. Super cute kid.
They were both cute.
So cute. His mom was like so loving. It seemed like he looked like he had almost the perfect childhood.
Yeah. Until
a car bomb explodes on him and his brother and his mom dies.
Right.
She's dead. Okay.
Well, who was the brother? Did the brother die too?
We don't know.
Oh, okay.
They didn't say.
Okay.
I'm assuming.
God, I thought I missed it.
Hoping we'll see. I just saw like both the kids like this.
Right.
You know, and then they fly through the air.
There's like little cigarette burns on their back.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
That's why his back is crazy.
I just made that connection.
Yes.
I didn't even realize. Okay, that's why there's so many books. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Because I missed that.
That is why I'm here.
We're also talking about Kelman. Now, Kelman, they don't say his name very often, but that's Ava's dad. He has short-term memory loss.
Poor thing.
Which explains so much in their relationship.
But he doesn't seem, like, Ava doesn't seem to, like, I mean, maybe she gets it, but, like, it hasn't been said, nor does she say it, or he doesn't say it, so.
I think that maybe it's frustrating, like, or she just doesn't want to deal with it.
Right, but maybe that's because she doesn't know what it is, or maybe she's
True.
Like, maybe he's just, what is wrong with you?
Or she's, like, in denial or something. I mean, that would explain why he calls her Ruth in that one phone conversation. And we also find out that her mom had 6 miscarriages.
Before she had Ava. Right. That conversation was so interesting.
It was so hard because Ava didn't want to talk about her mom at all.
I think I got emotional.
Yeah. But I want to know why she didn't want to talk about her mom, because, I mean, her dad, I'm assuming that he's not near death, but he's in the later years of his life. And that tends to be when people like reflect the most on past experience that they've had or decisions that they've made. And I feel like he wanted to talk about them with her, especially about her mom, but she just wasn't having it.
No, she wasn't having it at all. And the thing, too, is that her dad brings up, like, the idea of faith. Like, you need to have faith. And she's like, don't talk to me about having faith, because I am just like you. You are like me. We are both selfish. We are both to ourselves. This is how it is. And because of their work, their line of work, like her dad wasn't able to be there for her mom. So whatever happened to her, either she passed away or whatever, maybe they got a divorce. Like, she didn't feel the loving the home. And then she was like, yeah, and then I wasn't there for my husband. Going through cancer, going through the chemo, like she probably was out working. She was probably doing what she does best, which is ignoring them, probably moving on and working. So I think she has an extreme guilt, which is why it's so hard for her to like take her wedding ring off. Because we've seen this now a couple times where she's like playing with it or like struggling to take it off, thinks about taking it off, doesn't take it off. So I think she has this like immense amount of guilt, and she's like alone, and she knows that, and she knows it's just because of her choices. Exactly.
Hers also though.
Because of their choices.
I wonder if she keeps having to explain to her dad that she's having these miscarriages. Or if it's something like, because she's like, Dad, I lost the baby. And he was like, oh, I'm so sorry.
Right.
Like, he didn't know.
But I mean, this also has happened before. So like maybe, because it didn't seem like they had a discussion at all that like,
but then
she
he
had lost the baby.
But he forgets things.
True.
So I didn't know if it was like, she's like, I lost the baby. Like, I don't want to keep telling you this because that's painful to have to like tell you over and over and over again. Right. Or if it's something that she's just now telling him.
I don't know. I kind of took it as like she was just now telling him, only because we hadn't seen anything else before that. Right. But, I mean, I guess it could be either way. Up for interpretation. What do you think?
There you go. I don't know. She can't be with her dad. She doesn't want to be with her dad at all. She's like avoiding him at all costs. I think because he is so vulnerable right now, and because he keeps forgetting things, she kind of feels like she has to take care of him.
Right. And I don't think she has the time or the patience.
Yeah. Patience, absolutely not.
Nor have either one of them dealt with like their past problems, issues, therapy, whatever.
Yeah, totally. So she runs away.
Right.
Into the arms
of Avi. I was like, oh my gosh, of course you're going to come back. Right? Like, he already planted the seed last episode.
I know, yeah.
Like, you want some of this.
She did. I can't blame her. Everybody's human.
She kissed him back real good, okay? It wasn't like he was just going all in and she was just like there like a little fish. Like, no, she was going in on that kiss too.
Think about, yeah.
So I knew she was coming back for more.
They're both thirsty, okay? They're both thirsty. And this was a fulfillment of so many things, I think. But it was interesting because while they were in bed together, she didn't want him to look at her.
No, I don't know if okay, I took it as she was trying to like cover his face. Like she was like ashamed of like having sex with someone else besides her husband.
Yeah, and that's, or I think the same thing.
But like not that like she didn't want him to see her, but like she didn't want to look at his face.
I thought she felt guilty.
Yeah.
Because she's moving on. Well, like physically, I guess she's moving on.
Right.
And it's like you said before, she's had like a hard time taking her ring off to move on.
Right.
And so now she's just like, instead of forming a relationship and then like moving on slowly, she just hopped in bed with Abby. And so I think that's why she did it. But he was like, no.
He was like, you about to look at this face.
Yeah, he was so intense.
But I appreciate that. So fast.
I appreciate that he wanted to look in her eyes. Like, I want to know the person that I'm making love to.
Yeah. Oh, making love.
Well,
knocking boots.
But
shacking up. I mean.
I was trying to make it romantic, you guys. I was trying to set the tone. They were making love, looking into each other's eyes. That's what I was trying to do. You're like, nah, they were just knocking the boots. That's what was happening. So that happened. So there's obviously a connection there that's going to stay, I think, because she is so attractive. Even though she was like, oh, that was a mistake. I was like, too late. It happened. The connection is there. I don't know if this is her first dude after her husband.
Right.
If it is, that connection is going to stay.
Yeah, but I mean, they already had that moment when they were drinking in the bar together.
Right, exactly, yeah.
You know, like they had a moment, and they're very similar.
Yeah. I hope they stay.
I wouldn't be mad about it.
No, I hope they stay together.
Yeah.
I like them. Did we ship them? No, let's not ship them. Never mind. We'll use that for a different time. Everybody's into the shipping thing, so we won't do it. We also get the backstory on Felix and Anna, who it turns out that they've had, literally Anna, I think, has had years of resentment because she was a teen mom. So she got pregnant when she was a teen with Rebecca. Right. And I'm assuming that they told her she had to keep the baby.
Right. So
and
that
marry
clearly,
Felix.
So then that's not Felix's baby.
No. I think it's Felix's baby. I think it's Felix's daughter because I bet you she got pregnant by Felix when they were teenagers. And her father, because he's a pastor, said, you can't get an abortion. You have to make it work with Felix and you have to stay in Dilly, Texas. That's what I think. That's why she was like, I don't want the same thing for my daughter. That's why I let her get the abortion.
Right.
Did you think something different? What did you think?
I didn't make all those connections, but...
That's what I wrote. That's what I thought. Well. Because she straight up said, like, I don't want the same thing happening to her. I don't want her life ruined. So I can only assume that she went through that.
That's a great assumption. I'm into that assumption 110%. And that would totally make sense as to why she's very, like, protective of Rebecca.
And why she's kind of an alcoholic. Because, like, she doesn't want to stay in Dilly, Texas.
No, I don't know if she loves Felix.
She said she did. She said she did. It sounded sincere.
I don't know. I just feel like if you're forced to be in a marriage, like, no way. Like, I mean, listen, arranged marriages work. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm just saying, sometimes when you're, like, forced to be in a situation that you're not ready for, like, if you're a teen, you get pregnant, you get married, like, that's a whole lot to deal with. You don't even know what you're doing. You don't even know.
I think she, like, I agree with you.
The sky, the color of the sky. Like, you don't even know what's going on.
Yeah, you have so much maturing to do.
Right.
So it's definitely, you're, like, thrown into life. I think she's grown accustomed to Felix. Like, you know how you're familiar with somebody?
Right.
That you can say it's love, but it's like a different version of love where you're so familiar with the person.
She's just comfortable.
Yeah.
Maybe she's just, you're like, when you get at some point in life, sometimes you just get, like, settled.
Yes.
You're just used to what you're used to. So, like, now that, like, Al-Messih or Payam has, like, come into their lives and, like, disrupted the, like, routine, I feel like she's just really confused and, like, all over the place and doesn't know what to do with herself.
Yeah. And her husband is turning into a monster.
Right. Her husband is something else.
A monster. Talking about something else, can you explain to us more about what goes on here at AfterBuzz TV?
Yes, of course I can, Tatiana.
Thank you so much.
Here at AfterBuzz TV, we talk a lot about our binge shows. We have dramas. We have reality TV, which is my personal favorite. I love a good reality show. And you can follow this all on YouTube. We can stream them live for most of our shows, so you can like, comment, and subscribe. You can also, if you're on the go and don't have time to watch a whole 30-minute video, on your way to work, you can check us out on iTunes and Spotify.
That was a good alternate. You're right.
Yeah.
I will check us out on Spotify.
So
some other things.
When you're in the car with your children, you can play your mommy's voice in the car.
I don't listen to myself on iTunes. I listen to somebody else. I listen to myself talk to my kids all day.
They're like, oh, that's mommy.
They're like, wow. Talking about this shady deal church, because we ended with Felix, and now he's just this like egocentric, money hungry person. He comes to Ed as this like with this like big shot business deal, right? And he, basically, I put in my notes, he's pimping out the Al-Messih.
Oh,
he's pimping him out
110%. Remember, I told you this a couple episodes
ago. You
did,
did, and you nailed it on the head.
This is his MO. He is like, first he maybe thought he was it, but this was the thing that he said that had me weak. He said to Ed, basically, even if he isn't the Messiah, like, right, that he, like, it would look good or something. It would still bring attention.
Right.
I can't find it in my notes right now, but yes, right?
Right. What had me was that he went to Ed and was like, didn't you say you wanted a lot more viewers?
Right.
Guess what? I can bring that to you. Do you want it or not? Then he goes to Al-Messih and he's like,
right, he promised him before even talking about Al-Messih.
Yeah, but then he goes to Al-Messih and he's like, you told me to pray and God told me to be your servant and that's what I want to do for you. Let me be your servant.
Right.
I was like, whoa.
Manipulative.
You just had a flip of character in one day, like a total flip. And that is not something that we've seen as a characteristic of Felix before. So this is like a whole new Felix that is driven by greed and attention. That's what he wants. And I think he's butthurt because he's not Al-Messih's like right-hand man anymore, you know? Because he did that whole press conference without him, without even telling him. And he's like,
which I thought was weird. What the heck was that press conference that Al-Messih, that Payam did? Like, what was that? That was weird.
I think he was just exposing the president.
Just wanted some.
I think that's why.
Okay, you think that was his MO? Just
because the president was like,
don't tell anyone.
Don't tell anybody. And then that's the first thing he did.
Let me go do a press conference.
But I thought it was crazy because now we see this like, we watch Ava's dad flipping through the channels when he's watching TV, and on it is this huge commercial with Al-Messih on one side and Ed on the other, and it says, in the conversation with the Messiah, like in big words,
right?
The Messiah. And I was like, dang it. It's disappointing.
You know what's so funny though?
What?
I feel like that it's they touch on so much on this show.
Oh, yes.
Like
yes.
just like the stereotypes of like those big mega churches.
I know. Well, it's TV evangelists, and TV evangelists have a stereotype.
Definitely.
Just from the beginning of time.
Yeah.
Did you ever watch TV evangelists?
Well, what is that one guy? No, but what is that one guy? Joel Osteen.
Oh, yeah. Present day. Yeah. Joel Osteen has the mega church.
Oh, yeah. No, I don't.
Back in the day, my grandma, I forgot what they were called. Gosh, I wish my husband was on the live chat. He could tell me.
Husband, phone in.
Get on the live chat. No, but my grandma used to watch this couple, and it was the lady with the pink hair.
Okay, wait. I saw a documentary because my mom was telling me about her, and then they had no money, and there was like a whole scandal going on.
There's a whole scandal.
Yes.
So my grandparents, because I spent a lot of time with my grandparents when I was a kid, my grandparents used to watch that. It used to be on the TV all the time, and she had those big gloppy eyelashes. Yes. That was like this. Yes. So like that is when I think of TV evangelists, that's the first thing that my mind goes to, because that's like part of my childhood now.
Yeah.
And so TV evangelists always have this running thing of like exploitation and, like all this kind of stuff. So it just works right into that.
We'll get her name for you soon.
Yeah, I'll look her up.
Yeah, because it's a very interesting story. Long story short, they had a really big church. They kind of grew it into like being a big thing. They kind of got manipulated like by other people trying to like get in their pockets. They ended up like turning it over.
Jan Crouch.
Is that her name?
That is her name. Or Janice Wendell. Yeah, Janice Wendell Crouch was her name.
Yeah.
She's the lady with the pink hair. She was on TBN. And she was a religious broadcaster. She passed away in 2016. But that was her name, Janice Wendell Crouch. Yeah. But like when people think, at least if you're from my generation, when people think like, oh.
And it was a huge thing because, you're telling like, give money, send money. That was the big problem there. And there was some other things where like people were trying to get in their pockets. They turned up for the church and then it wasn't theirs anymore. And the story's interesting, so you should look it up.
We'll put a link below.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
But it sucks. It just sucks because it plays into that entire stereotype of all of these like TV evangelists, just kind of like money hungry and attention. They want attention.
Yeah,
They're
like,
just so.
The Messiah's here today. Like, okay.
So
like
totally plays into that.
That's not how church is supposed to be.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Yeah. So basically what Felix says, he tells Ed, he says, even if he isn't the real Messiah, you put him on TV and no one will blame you for wanting to believe if he was fake.
Yeah.
That's what he said.
Yeah. Because you're still trying to like do good.
Right. So my question was like, what is Felix doing? Question mark, question mark,
He's
question
a different
mark.
person. He's a different
Completely.
person. So we've seen him go from this like very humble beginnings pastor who was just trying to spread the word in his church to now this like crazy narcissist who is just addicted to fame.
Yeah.
I mean, he's in his robe at like this expensive hotel, dining on whatever
whoever's paying.
Room service,
right.
Chose door. It's sad. It's sad to watch because that's like, this human nature. It plays off of honestly what your flesh wants. And so that was, he just totally completely fed into that.
Yes,
and then when Al-Messih is like, sure, I'll go, but I want Rebecca to be there. It was such a weird thing because he goes to his daughter and he's like, Al-Messih is going to speak. He wants you to be there.
Right.
But he said it weird. It was an awkward scene. I didn't understand. Did you get it that it was awkward? Because I thought it was totally weird until she's like gives him a hug. And then he kind of like breaks the awkwardness because obviously he hasn't like hugged his daughter in a long time.
Right.
But it was just, there's something that seemed really fake about it.
I mean, I didn't really get the awkwardness from it personally. But I do feel like maybe he was probably feeling some type of way that, Al-Messih / Payam asked for Rebecca.
Yeah.
I think he's always been kind of like,
like why? Because there's still that tug of war.
Yeah.
I'm the favorite. No, I'm the favorite. No, I'm the favorite.
Exactly. That's what happens when you have more than 3 kids, right?
Yeah. Yes, that is what happens. I really like the cinematic split because when they're like when he's getting ready to go talk, we're split between Al-Messih and Rebecca, like getting ready to go speak at this conference. And then we're split between Jibril, trying to recite his speech, and then Samier, who is now we know is a suicide bomber.
You guys, that had me so crazy.
He is not. He peed himself before he even went on. Like before he was even strapped with the bombs.
I was just kind of like, see, I didn't see that coming because this whole time you see him like reading the Quran and like being in this thing. And then I thought he was going to get married. Like they brought him a wife.
He got married, but that's because he was going to die.
That doesn't make
yeah,
any
like
sense.
they wanted him to experience sleeping with a woman, but they wanted to make it Quran based, and so they had them get married.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's what it was?
They wanted it to be within the religious spectrum of marriage, I believe, because if you went without getting married, then it would be a sin, and then he wouldn't be holy
enough to be.
Yeah.
But I was not expecting wherever he is at, this convent, whatever this is, whatever is going on.
Suicide training.
Right. But I didn't expect it to be like, I didn't know he was going to be the suicide bomber. Right. I thought they were maybe teaching religion because nothing had been explicitly said that he was going to be having to sacrifice himself.
No, nobody said that.
Yeah.
But it would explain so much. But obviously he's not ready, and he knows he's gonna go kill his friend.
Who would be ready? I'm not ready. I'm definitely not ready.
I would not be ready either.
Yeah, I'm not killing. No. I'm finding my first escape out the window somewhere.
Yes, because that's scary, especially because it's gonna be against his friend.
Right. Which did you think he knew that though before? I don't think so.
I think he did.
Oh, I don't think he did. Because I feel like when they saw each other, it was like oh my God.
I know. He says his name.
Yeah. And then
he's Jibril.
Right. And then it doesn't happen because he drops the bomb.
Well, he drops the trigger.
Right.
But the dude in the car.
He already had it together because he probably knew that Samier was not about to go through with it.
Which is so unfair. It's so unfair.
Right.
But that cinematic movement between the three people.
Oh, I like a good scene, you guys.
I know you do.
I like a good scene. James McTeague?
Yes. McTeague.
Yes.
Yeah, James McTeague.
James McTeague. Bravo. I love a good parallel scene, building up the drama. Every single time I see a scene like that, I'm into it.
Me too.
I saw this and I was like, yes! Another one.
It's my scene again.
I love it.
Did you notice that all three, between that scene, like all three are kids? Isn't that kind of crazy?
So it was Jibril.
Uh-huh.
It was Samier.
Uh-huh.
And then who was
Rebecca. Because Rebecca goes up because Al-Messih skips out.
Right.
Rebecca goes up and starts talking. What, her going out?
No. Al-Messih leaving. No one forced him. He just left.
No, but he knew.
Knew what?
I think he knew. Okay, because he's sitting there. He sees them pull up because you see the car lights.
Yeah,
right?
he does see that.
So you see him pull. He sees them pull up, and I'm pretty sure that he looked out, like saw
who it was.
So he doesn't want to. He was already hesitant about getting in front of all these people and speaking.
But he agreed. It sounded like that was no problem for him. He agreed.
No,
ASAP.
He said, "I'll do it."
Right.
If I could find a clip, I would show you. I think he was nervous about it because what is he going to say? He has nothing to say.
Right, exactly. That's what I'm saying. He had nothing to say in front of
That's
why
he's like. That's why I think he left. And his character, like, he seems to be the type of person that rolls with the opportunities, good or bad.
Okay. I can.
You know, like, oh, this opportunity present itself. That must mean I must take it. He goes in the car.
Right.
Doesn't know whether he's going to die or not, but he goes in the car.
Right.
You know? So, but it's interesting because it's Rebecca, Jibril, and Samier are all three kids, and they're all making these tough decisions.
Adult decisions.
Yeah.
You're right.
And they're put in these positions where they're forced to do, well, Rebecca wasn't really forced, but she was totally coaxed, I think.
Yeah, because she thinks that Al-Messih Payam is the Messiah.
Yeah.
So she is under influence, and so is Jibril, and so is Samier.
But they're all being pushed for this political and religious battle.
Right.
You know, when they have no idea truly what none of them know what they're fighting for or saying, for that matter.
True.
You know?
No one has a fork in.
I thought that was interesting that they're all three kids and they don't understand the situation.
No, but I think that's so interesting that they use the kids because kids are the ones are the most like vulnerable and open and can be manipulated easily because they don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
So the fact that you can kind of like give them these ideas like, oh yeah, this is what you need to be doing. Let me read you this speech. you need to only be reading the Quran. You need to only, Messiah, like Al-Messih, he came for you, or whatever Rebecca was feeling, because she was feeling lost. And, Al-Messih kind of gave her a little hope, right? She was like, I don't want to be ashamed of my abortion. I shouldn't be ashamed. That's why she told her dad. So I feel like he's given her a different way of looking at things now that she's not in Dilly, Texas, and things are a little different. She's kind of seeing a different view of the world, a different POV. So
yeah, I totally agree.
Point of view. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Thank you. I was like, POV what? No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
You never know. I mean, I'm really bad with abbreviations. I'm like, huh? They do that to me at work all the time. I'm like, what? What is this?
What is this?
What are you saying? Yeah.
So with this whole explosion that we know, we already touched on that he didn't do it, but he exploded anyway. But it sucks because Jibril didn't even go through with talking about what his mentor had prepared for him. He just started talking about peace.
Right.
Which is even more sad.
But, at least my only positive in this scene was at least by the time that everyone saw the bomb and he decided to take his time and saw his friend and all that, everybody had gotten out of the church by then. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm saying there wasn't casualties, but like a lot of people. There were some casualties, but at least no one was in the church.
Right.
When it went off, besides Jibril, who miraculously.
We don't know yet.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's crazy because it's like two friends saying goodbye to each other. And I feel like they were all they had left, kind of a thing.
They were. Mm-hmm. They were best friends. Mm-hmm. And I mean, it's unfortunate. They were both unwilling participants in this thing we called life, and now they're forced to do things they don't know what they're doing, nor do they want to do. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Ending a friendship. I mean, they haven't seen each other, talk to each other, and who knows?
This is the first time that they've
seen each other in so long.
And he's gonna bomb him.
Right. Can you imagine? You haven't seen a friend in like a couple years, I don't know, maybe some months, however long it's been, and the next time you see them, they're trying to bomb you?
I'd be like, huh! It was the look. It was the look that got me.
But it was like the look of fear. It wasn't even
absolutely.
Like, I'm ready to do this. It was like, I'm so scared. Please, somebody come get me.
Yes. Saeed El-Alami, who plays Jibril, he stands out to me so much in this whole season. Okay. He's a fantastic actor.
Totally.
Because a lot of his scenes are strictly looking. With his eyes. It's just with his eyes.
Right. He doesn't say too much.
No. And so the fact that he can convey that much through his eyes I feel like that is the note of a true actor, and he does so well. So kudos, Saeed. Amazing job.
Amazing.
We really like you. I really want to talk about this book dedication that Eva found. So Eva confronts Al-Messih about his affiliation with Oscar Wallace and realizes that they still talk to each other. So he was on the phone. Remember that one time when he was on the payphone and I was like, I didn't even see him use the payphone. And you were like, me neither.
Me neither.
So he apparently did. He's been calling Oscar Wallace.
Right. And there was some Russian numbers.
Yeah. There were some Russian numbers. So they still talk. Guess what? He has the coin again. Did you notice? Remember I said...
No, I didn't notice.
Payam had the coin. And remember the last time he was in the jail, he pulled out that coin from his pocket with the kid, okay? And I was like, it means something. Right. Now he's in the... I did. He's in the hotel by himself. He pulls out that same coin. I'm telling you guys that
it's a trick quarter.
It means something to him. Why would he carry this around?
No, I think it's a trick quarter. He was making payphone calls. Maybe he was... putting it in and taking it out. He's a con artist. That's what you said.
Yeah, he is a con artist.
Okay, so maybe that's what he's doing, and maybe that's his special lucky coin.
Maybe. I think it reminds him of something from his childhood, and that's the whole reason why he keeps it.
Maybe it means something from his uncle.
Yeah,
wow, that's what I think.
That's what I think. It's all from the coin, but I think that he carries that with him for some reason. But it's just funny to me that we see it again. But Ava calls Oscar Wallace. And I am surprised that we actually saw this Oscar Wallace character. I didn't think we were going to see him.
Yeah, me either. Yeah, we gave a face to a name.
Yes, which was great. But he says to Ava, his character is really interesting. I don't quite know how to place him. But he says to Ava, between him and me, I'm not the dangerous one.
Yeah.
And that's the beautiful thing.
He said it was happy to serve his cause.
Yeah. And Oscar Wallace's book was dedicated to Payam Gulsheri. It was dedicated to PG, which I can only assume
That's what she assumed.
Payam Gulsheri. So Wallace is the student of Payam. Even though
Oscar is the one who is the teacher or the professor.
Oscar is the professor. But I think, hear me out, I think his book, the book that Oscar Wallace wrote, is actually Payam Gulsheri's term paper.
Right. That wasn't missing in the library. Mm-hmm. Right.
That's what I think.
I love that. And I think that's a good theory to think that. I think I think that makes perfect connection.
It has to be.
I think that's another point for Team Believer.
I think, no.
Yes.
What? How is it a point for Team Believer?
Because.
No, that makes him,
Yes.
That makes him even more like Team Skeptic because, look, he wrote this entire book about disorganization and creating chaos to make people like really question what they think. And then when they do that, they're completely shaken and they'll follow anything, right? That was his whole book was about. And that's exactly what he's doing.
Yeah, but I'm saying Oscar Wallace. Apparently it was a good enough theory for someone else to steal it.
I mean, yeah, but they still talk to each other. So it wasn't like he stole it and was like, ha ha, I made money. It's like he stole it and was like, I'm going to put this book out and you can actually carry it out. Guys.
So was it an experiment or is it real?
I wonder. I seriously wonder. With that, let's get into our news and gossip. Ebony, can you share that with us?
Yes.
AfterBuzz TV News.
Well, you guys, you know Ed, the one that plays Anna's dad, who's also a pastor. He also plays. His name is Bo Bridges. He also plays on Greenleaf, which is on OWN. And I think it's really funny how they both of the characters that he's played in these very popular shows have like pastor, religious, church vibes to them. Mm-hmm. I think that's very interesting. Mm-hmm. Also, we have an interview with Samier Sicily, right? So he was in an interview, and so they were asking him about, that the show doesn't really have any clear answers, and what was something that, did he know that beforehand? And so Samier says basically when he auditioned for it, he did a self-tape because he lives in Paris, which is funny because we were talking about it, how I think his like accent switched a little bit in one of the episodes where I was like, did he just sound French, right? So now it makes sense. He's from Paris, or he lives in Paris, but he is Israeli. He only got 3 or 4 pages, but he really compliments the writer, Michael, for being such a fantastic writer. And he loves the characters and the backstories of what Michael was able to write. And then the interviewer also asks, were there things about your character that you grew to appreciate? You didn't necessarily notice or feel in the beginning. And once you got to know him better, did you like him more? He said no, that he had fun immediately and he enjoyed his character. He did say that he was trying to convince, he said it was Avi's accent that he was trying to change. And Michael wanted him to speak in a very heavy Israeli accent. And he did not agree with that in the beginning. But, he was like, oh, that's my boss. But he was trying to convince him to have him have different accents because, he's a world traveler. He has 2 different passports so he was like, if he's traveled around the world, like he should have different accents. But Michael at the end was just like, you're absolutely right. But every time you speak English, you speak it with people who you don't have to hide your identity with. So there's no reason for you to be speaking in any other accent than your Israeli accent. So
good point.
There you go. He had to be stuck with that. And that is it for the news and gossip.
Well, he pulled it off.
He did.
He did such a good job.
He did a great job. I'm #team Avi.
I am too.
Yes.
Okay, I am too. I think everybody is.
He's so cute.
He's kind of like, his character is kind of like the underdog too, where you see, even though you see all of his faults and like the reasonings behind why he does things, you root for him totally.
Completely.
Like you're on his team.
You want him to like win, to figure it out.
Yeah.
He's like a mess, but you want him to figure, you're like, this is the character that you love to hate.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. He's very lovable.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm like Eva, and I'm like, you idiot. But
you have hope because you're like, oh, well, he did it maybe for this reason
he's
or that.
a good person inside.
Yeah.
Yeah. We like him. Good job.
We like him.
Good job, Thomas Sicily.
Yes.
All right. That concludes our recap of episode 9. Again, if we missed something, please put it in the comments because I know there's so much to discuss in this episode. So we like like to keep the conversation going. Before we go, Ebony, can you tell us where we can stalk you?
Yes, please stalk me on Instagram and on Twitter at EbonyChapman12.
Awesome. And my name is Tatiana Marisa at Tatiana Marisa on all social media platforms. We will be covering episode 10 soon, so stay tuned and we'll see you next time.
Our founder, Kevin Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.